Hello and welcome back to Rhonda Says, Healthy Living from A to Z. Today we are on chapter I and we're going to discuss interval training. Interval training is great. Anybody can do it, so no excuses allowed. You just take it at your own pace. So a few of the guidelines. In this particular module, I talked to you a little bit about body fat and how we don't want to be looking at BMI, body mass index, tells us nothing about your body composition, nor does it tell us anything about your health. So BMI, bull, malarkey, indeed. Drop it. Go for body fat. And even though it's an estimate, like you can get the little bioelectrical impedance machines, if you have a pacemaker, you don't want to do those, but those are very inexpensive. You can monitor your body fat. Pay attention to how your body changes. One of the things about quick weight loss schemes, you'll start noticing that people start looking thin and gaunt, but they do not look healthy. That's because they're losing muscle. We want to lose fat. And interval training is a great way to burn that fat off. So body fat, not BMI. Second thing, your heart rate, you need to monitor that while you're doing interval training because you want to be working hard enough to get the results, but recovery is just as important as work, and you want to make sure that you're recovering appropriately. So when you're working in interval training, and this may be something that you discuss with your doctor, because if you have a pacemaker, if you've had problems with your heart, anything like that, you want to cover that with your doctor to find out if there's a limit to where they want your heart rate to be. That's very important. Don't forget to do that. For everyone else, if you're just healthy, trying to get in shape, trying to burn that body fat, as you're working through each of these circuits that we're showing you, and these are going to be fun for us because my trainers are doing some of their favorite exercises for you. And what I want you to do though is focus on that 0.8 to 0.95. So 80% to 90% of your maximum heart rate for the work portion. Then the recovery is 40 to 50% of that. You have to do the recovery. Please don't think that you should just plow through, plow through, plow through. Get the recovery. It's very important. It's important for your health, but it's also important for you to be able to recover enough so that your next set is as good as your first one, because we want you to get the work in. Third thing, as you're looking at your reps, if you're working on strength right now, which is where I typically start all my clients with just getting stronger, then you're looking at 10 or less reps. If you're looking for hypertrophy, you want to build a little bit of muscle mass, then go 10 to 15. 15's getting at the very upper limit of that, but I do it this way for this broad because I don't know exactly the clientele I'm talking to. So I want you to be safe, so we're doing very broad ranges. So up to 10 for strength, 10 to 15 for hypertrophy, and if you just need some endurance, 15 to 20. Anything over 20, I don't know, I feel like you're wasting your time in a lot of ways. So those are the guidelines for today. Now I'm gonna have each one of my fit coaches to take you through their favorite exercises in a circuit format. So we're gonna be doing lower body, upper body, core, and metabolic. And you may hear me interject some things as they're going, but they're just gonna zip right through it in an interval form. When you first start, you may need to do one exercise and then hit your recovery. So you've got to be monitoring your heart rate. If your heart rate gets up there really high, you may have to wait and let that heart rate come down in between each exercise. What we want you to work up to is only having to do that at the end of the set. So they're going to run through a really quick set. To keep it short for the video, we're only doing 10 reps of everything. So we're going to be working at that upper limit of the strength. But I want you to kind of see the way that we do our workouts here at Rhonda Huff Fit. Go ahead, Karen. Karen, by the way, is our TRX master. So this is Karen's lower body exercise. And believe me when I tell you that this particular exercise will burn out your quads. If you have pain at any point, then you modify. So maybe you do the same exercise, but you just don't go as deep. Karen's hitting triceps now, so she's doing a little tricep press on the TRX. Notice how tight everything in her body is. Her shoulders are still, her shoulder blades are still, her lower back is still. The only thing that's bending and straightening are the elbows. Now she's going to adjust the TRX so that she can be on the floor. This is a wonderful one. Our clients love this one. Ha ha ha. Beautiful form. Notice how controlled the movements are. She's not using momentum and she's not throwing her body around. Very important. She's getting that little bit of a hip lift, coming up into that V-sit. The abs are pulling in so that those abdominal corrections come into play here. Pulling back, really holding the core nice and tight. She's breathing properly, so she's inhaling as she's going back. She's exhaling as she's coming forward. Absolutely beautiful. And Karen's metabolic exercise is also going to be on the TRX. This one also has that deep knee bend. So if you have problems with your knees in the beginning, you may want to modify this. And then hopefully at some point you can go back into it. So getting a lot of power as she twists and comes up. Notice that her lower back is nice and stable. So we are not rotating in the lumbar spine. Beautiful. Are you huffing and puffing yet? Yes. That's your first circuit. Now Mike is going to share with you some of his favorite exercises because I asked my fit coaches to come in with their favorite exercise in each category, and Mr. Mike comes in with a list this long of all of his favorite exercises. So he had to come down with just one. So he loves to work out. He loves all these exercises. Anything you throw at this man, he loves it. So he is going to show you a few of his favorite. We're going to start once again with lower body. We'll go to upper body, core, and then metabolic. So we're starting with a Bulgarian split squat. Mike is using dumbbells for this, and he's using a bench. You can also use something lower than a bench, like a platform or a step. And he is going to go down. If you notice, he's getting really good range. He's keeping his body tight. Everything is working in unison. He's driving through the heel of that front foot. You do not want to let your body weight go into your toes. So he's getting a good depth on this particular exercise. This is called unilateral training, where you're training one side at a time.
On the bench.
And get yourself set up. That's oftentimes the hardest part. And as you notice, as he did that little hop forward, that is very important. You don't want to just do something because you think you're in the right place. Make sure you know that you're in the right place, because if you're in the wrong place, you're going to be putting stress in the wrong areas. So once again, you're driving through the heel of the front foot. Nice job. He is going to transition. One of the things that we love to do for the lats is in the frontal plane, and we call it a unilateral frontal plane pull. So Mike is going to demonstrate that for you. This is one of the ones we really love for all of our clients because it's a really great way to fire those lats. Notice that his chest is lifted, and as he pulls, his palm is facing up. If you don't have as much range as he does, then it's okay for the palm not to be facing completely up, but you definitely do not want to close down the shoulder. So you want the shoulder to be up, and you want this to be fairly heavy. So as he's pulling his elbow down, he's really hitting the lats in a really good way. We get a lot of good results from this particular exercise with our clients. And as he's turning, I'll be able to kind of point to that area. Notice he set his shoulders. Once again, shoulder, scapular stability. He's pulling here, focusing right in this area. He's pulling, he's holding, he's returning with control. He's using this side of his body just to brace so that everything is working without compromising form. Remember, practice makes permanent. Only perfect practice makes perfect. Mike also loves animal flow, which was designed by Mike Fitch. And we do a lot of animal flow in our studio here. And it's a lot of fun. He's going to do a little animal flow, literally a flow for you. He's going to be going from static crab to a reach, to an underswitch, to a side kick. And he's going to do 2 on each side because that still gives him 10 movements per side. This is the crab reach. He's getting ready to go into the underswitch. And then he's going into a side kick. Coming back around to static crab. And we're going to do it again. Crab reach. To underswitch. To side kick through. And now he's going to do 1 more on each side. Notice that he's doing this in a very slow and controlled movement, just so that you can kind of see what he's doing. As you get better and better, you can speed this up a little bit, but once again, you never want to compromise form. And if you like the animal flow stuff, once again, just Google animal flow or Mike Fitch, and he has entire programs based around this type of movement. Nice job. Getting the heart rate up a little bit too, isn't it? Yes. And now he's going to finish off with something that's super metabolic. This is not something that I would recommend most people do. You want to, and let me just point out the fact that this man broke his back. He has had a broken back, and yet he is able to complete all of these things. And he does them very well. And you're going to see, we call him Frogman around here because he loves to jump and he jumps very well. You'll see that a little bit with this one. So he's using the Viper, which, as I said before, is my favorite. And he's going to do a jump lunge with a switch. And you want to pull the core in super tight and land as quietly as possible. Okay, so Mike,
Yes.
Answer me this, sir.
Yes.
After you do that 3 times, are you going to be toast?
Yes. Yep. It's all good. It's all good.
Circuit 2, done. Now Hannah is going to show you her favorite exercises. So she's starting off with a hip thrust. This is amazing for glutes. The thing you want to remember is that you should not be bending through your lumbar spine. So as you're coming down, you want to think about your shoulders and your hips kind of making a rectangle, and they kind of move together. Keep your head slightly forward to keep those abs engaged, the glutes engaged. Try not to drop your head back. And then she is going to shift into a one-arm row. On the one-arm row, you want to work here. So this is another one that if you're not careful, you're just going to end up doing all biceps and your back is not going to really help do anything. So you want to make sure that you're pulling from your back. These are the muscles you're wanting to work. Anytime you do a pulling activity, you're also working biceps, but if it's a back exercise, then you want to make sure that you're really doing back work. Range of motion in the shoulder is another very important thing. So some people come way too high with their elbow and it will cause internal rotation at the shoulder. So sometimes you only have to come up to where you're level to get enough of a squeeze in your back. So don't think you have to bring the elbow really high. If it starts rotating your shoulder forward, it's too high. Then we're going to come down for a plank. So we're going to just pull this out of the way. Yep, and then just step across that. So her core is going to be a plank, and we're going to time that. So we're just going to do a 30-second plank, not a 30-minute plank. And so lift your hips a little bit higher, Hannah. What I want you to see is that she has a really good developed backside. And what it looks like in a plank is it looks like she's dropping down here. That's not what you're seeing. What you're seeing is a nice booty. All right, so if she were drop here for a second. That's what it would look like if she was dropping. So we want the hips up. She's not piked. She just has a nice butt. We want this to be still. And that was 30 seconds.
I think it's more than 30 seconds.
And next, Hannah is going to do her one of her favorite metabolic exercises is the battle ropes. And we're going to do 3 different movements. She's going to go 15 seconds each movement. Notice the stance. She's in a good squatted stance. The low back is not moving around. She's very stable. And the thing about this particular one and the way she's using her arms, if she didn't have all of her weight in her glutes and having stabilized her lower back, she would be having a lot of back pain right now. So make sure you get your weight back, really engage those glutes, make sure the abs are tight, those abdominal corrections again, and that lower back should not move at all. Are you working hard?
I'm working.
Working hard. So see, 4 exercises, get those through there 2 more times, and you've got a really good circuit on your hand, and you are going to burn that fat. Also, let me just make this point. Cortisol will always increase when you're working out because it is a stress to the body. That is why I don't like for people to work out longer than 1 hour at a time. They have found that after about an hour, that cortisol being up that high starts to offset the benefits. And guess where fat goes when your cortisol is high? Yeah, everybody's pointing to the belly, So if you have a belly you're trying to work on, you don't want to be working out more than an hour. Don't overstress yourself with the cardio. Do you hear how she's panting?
That's cardio enough.
That's cardio enough. It's good. It's done. So get out there, do your interval training. I can't wait to hear from you guys about how wonderful you're feeling. And until next time, journey on.